welcome to week 5 of music. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. Today is going to be a complete review day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compile some clips from videos that I've filmed in the past for you. We're going to compile that into a big review lesson for you today. So we're not going to learn anything new. It's just going to be a big review, just to make it a little bit easier on you guys. We covered a lot of material over these past couple of weeks, and I'm really proud of you for sticking with it and excelling at it. Music is not easy, so you should be very proud of yourself for that. So that is what's going to happen today, and next week we're going to have a little bit of a fun day. We're going to play some games, sing some songs together, and we're going to end camp with a nice little fun lesson. So with that being said, enjoy your review, and I will see you next week. Alright guys, so we're going to get right into it with our vocal warm-ups. We're going to be doing the same exercises that we've been doing. The only difference this time is we're going to be singing with the solfege because we just learned it, and I would like to get you more familiar with how to actually sing with it. So we're going to be doing the same exercises. We're just going to be doing it with the solfege syllables instead of the na that I was having you sing on. So, for instance, with this exercise here, the one that we've been doing, na, 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 na. Instead of singing on the na, we're going to assign solfege syllables. So, with this exercise, we are singing in thirds up to the fifth. So we're essentially going 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. So we learned that the first syllable of solfege, the first syllable of the major scale, is do. So instead of saying 1, we would sing do with this particular exercise. And if we're going up to the third, we're going to skip the second. The second is re. So we're going to skip re and go to mi. So we're going to go do, mi, go up to that third. And once again, we're going to skip the fourth. So we're going to skip fa and go up to sol. So it would be do, mi, sol, mi, do. And that's how we would sing that exercise with solfege. So let's try that. Let's go up in half steps like we've been doing with the solfege. So start on this note. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Up a half step. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. 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 We'll stop there. All right, good job with that. It takes a little bit to get used to, but once you get used to it, it just becomes second nature to you and you just remember it. So let's continue. Let's start with singing up to the fifth. So the exercise that we were doing was we started on a G, so we started like that, and we were going na 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 na. All right, so instead of singing on the na, we're going to sing with the solfege. So we know that the first note is do. We know that the second note is re, the third note is mi, the fourth note is fa, and the fifth note is sol. So instead of going na 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 na, we are going to instead go do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do, and continue to go up the scale. Coming down from the solfege can be a little bit tricky sometimes, so don't get discouraged if you get tripped up on that part. It does take some practice. So let's sing up that scale. with the solfege. Starting on this G. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Last one. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. All right, perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to practice singing in the descending direction with the solfege. So I'm going to start you on that chord that we just left off on. This was a fairly new exercise last week. I think we started doing this, so I'll review it with you. We started higher and we started singing down from the fifth. So from here, you go up a fifth, and you go na 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 na, or the fourth. I'm sorry, we started at the fourth. So na 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 na, or that's the fifth. I'm sorry, excuse me. That is the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So we started here and sang down the fifth. Na 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 na, and kept going down. Na 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 na. All right. So, we remember that the fifth syllable for solfege is sol. So if we're going down the scale, we would go sol, fa, mi, re, do, sol, fa, mi, re, do, and just keep going down. All right, so let's try that. This can be very tricky at first, so again, please do not get discouraged if this is a bit challenging for you. This all takes practice, and nobody's perfect, so let's start right there. Sol, fa, mi, re, do. 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 That's as low as I can go. All right, great job with the vocal warm-ups. We are going to continue practicing that over the next couple of weeks. So let's get right into the lesson. We're going to talk about rhythm today. Alright guys, so now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about building a major scale. So, I mentioned to you last week that the formula for building a major scale is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And we also talked about whole and half steps last week. So we know that a half step is a note and the note directly next to it, and a whole step is a note and a note in between the note that you're trying to go to. So C to C sharp, that's a half step, but C to D, that's a whole step. So if you're trying to do a half step, you would go to the note directly next to the note you're starting from, and if you're doing a whole step, you're going to skip a note to get to the note you're trying to go to. So let's build some major scales together. Alright, so this is a C major scale. I took the liberty of just writing out the note names for you. So let's start at C, and let's go through the formula to see why a C major scale looks like this. Alright? So, first step is whole step. So if we're starting at C and we do a whole step, that's D. So C, D. Next step, whole step. So if we're at D and we do a whole step, that is E. So whole step, whole step, whole step, whole step. So C, D, E. All right, and next step is half step. So a half step from E is F. So C, D, E, F. Next step is whole step. So if we're doing a whole step from F, that is G. C, D, E, F, G. Next step is whole step. So if we're doing a whole step from G, that is A. So C, D, E, F, G, A. Next step, whole step. So if we're doing a whole step from A, that is B. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And if we're doing a half step, B to, a half step from B, excuse me, is C. So C. All right, so there are 7 notes in a major scale, 7 different notes. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then it starts over again. All right, so now that we did that, let's start from a different note. So let's start at G. So if we're starting at G, let's go through the formula again. So first step is whole step. So whole step from G is A. G, A. Next step, of course, is whole step. So a whole step from A is B. G, A, B. Next step is half step. So a half step from B is C. G, A, B, C. Next step is whole step. So a whole step from, where was I? C, sorry. A whole step from C is D. G, A, B, C, D. All right, and next step is whole step. So doing a whole step from D, let's go back here. Whole step from D is E. So G, A, B, C, D, E. And next step is whole step. So a whole step from E is F sharp. So G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. And last step is half step. So a half step from F sharp is G. Now, you might be asking me, hey, why is that F sharp? Why isn't it G flat? And the answer is because when you're building a major scale, you're always, or when you're building any scale actually, you're always going to want to follow that alphabetical pattern. So since we already have a G in the scale, there's no use in writing G flat. That doesn't make any sense. So we're going to want to keep that alphabetical pattern of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So we wouldn't do A, B, C, D, E, G, G. That doesn't make sense, right? Yeah, so you're always going to want to keep with that alphabetical pattern. So that is why this is F sharp and not G flat. So now let's talk about solfege. So solfege, which is the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do up here. If you know what that is, but you didn't know that it was called solfege, that's what it's called. It's called solfege. So that is our singing technique for a major scale. Do applies to the first note, re the second, mi the third, fa the fourth, sol the fifth, la the sixth, ti the seventh, do is starting over again, back at 1. So let me play you a major scale on my guitar and let's try to sing it, all right? So this here is a C note. So if we wanted to play a major scale, it would sound like this. And if we wanted to go backwards, it would sound like this. So if we were going to sing that in solfege, it would sound like this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. If we wanted to sing it backwards, it would sound like this. Do, ti, la, sol, fa. Oh, I screwed that up, I'm sorry. Do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Alright, so if you remember in our vocal warm-ups when I told you to sing thirds, what I was telling you to do was to do this. So what you're doing when you're singing that, we were singing on a na, but the solfege for that would be do, mi, sol, mi, do. Alright? So, we will practice more with solfege in our vocal warm-up next week, but that is solfege, that is a major scale. So I hope you learned something today. I hope that was fun for you. We will pick up with that next week, excuse me. So good work today, everybody, and as always, I'm going to end with a song. Alright, you guys, so now that we know what a whole step and a half step is, let's talk about what those two things sound like. So, this is a C note. That is what C sounds like. Now, C to C sharp sounds like this. Alright? However, C to D sounds like this. I will play that again. So, C to C sharp, C to D. I'm just gonna keep playing that and you're gonna try to familiarize yourself with that. So, half step, whole step, half step, whole step. All right, try to familiarize yourself with that. Take a minute to do that. What I'm gonna do with you next is I'm going to quiz you. We're gonna do a little bit of ear training. I'm gonna just continue to play intervals for you like that, and you're gonna tell me if it's a half step or a whole step. So let's get started with that. So first question, is this a half step or a whole step? I will play it one more time. All right. If you guessed whole step, you are correct. Congratulations. Now let's try it with a different note. So, is this a whole step or a half step? I'll play that one more time. If you guessed half step, you are correct. Congratulations, that is a half step. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Jaws. It's kind of an old movie, but a good way to remember what a half step sounds like is the Jaws theme song, When the Shark is Coming. So in the movie, whenever the shark is coming, there's this little piano bit that goes like this. And it's just a half step, so it just goes from here to here to here. So yeah, I don't know if that helps you. It kind of helped me when I was learning this. So yeah, if you're thinking about half steps, just think about the Jaws theme song. All right. Another helpful way to remember this is whenever you're singing a half step, there's going to be no note in between what you're singing, if that makes sense. And when you're singing a half step, it's going to feel like there's room for another note. So for instance, when you're singing a half step, you're going to go like, we'll start on this note. No, I'm sorry. We'll start on this note. So singing a half step would be like, na. See how I just kind of slid into it with no room for any other notes? So again, na, na. That's a half step. And when you're singing a whole step, it's going to feel like there's some room in between for another note. So, na, na. See how it sounds like there could be another note in there? So I'll do that one more time. Na, na. And once again, the half step, it's gonna feel like there's no room for any other notes. So, na, na. Another helpful way to do that is to just slide into the note without even stopping, just like one continuous swoop. So like, no. I'll try that without the guitar so you can hear me. No. All right, so that is whole and half steps. Take a minute to learn that. It takes a little bit of time to get used to, but once you figure it out, it's not that bad. So thank you guys, and now I'm going to end the lesson by playing a song for you. Alright guys, so I am going to play a couple of melodies for you on my guitar. Well, not melodies, but chord progressions. And you are going to tell me whether it is in 3/4 or 2/4. Now remember, 3/4 is the beat that you can kind of sway to. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And 2/4 is the beat that you can kind of nod to or tap your foot to. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so let's start with the first one. All right, I will play that one more time. If you guessed that that was in 3/4, great job, you were right. So notice how you can kind of sway to that beat. It's a nice swayable beat. All right, so let's try another one. I will play that one more time. All right, if you guessed that that was in 2/4, great job, you are right. So again, notice how you can kind of nod your head or tap your foot to that. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, great job with that. Let's try one more. All right. All right, I will play that one more time. If you guessed that that was in 3/4, great job, you were right. So again, we can kind of sway to that melody. All right, let's try one more. Why not? All right. I will play that one more time. All right, if you guessed that that was in 2/4, great job, you were right. So again, we can kind of tap our head to that. Great job. All right, guys, awesome job practicing with that. We're gonna continue working on this. But it has come to the end of our lesson, so as always, I am going to play a song for you. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week. I will not be playing a song for you today, unfortunately. My voice is not feeling the best, so I'm gonna let it rest. But thank you so much for watching. Like I said, we're gonna do a little bit of a fun day next week to end camp. So in the meantime, I will see you next week. Alright, bye.